Jared, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me back. It's good to be here.
You got it, man. Hey, what's been the best thing that you've done or seen in Rio up to this point?
Ooh, I've been here for a long time, so there's a couple highlights. But it was fun to walk in the opening ceremony, see that stadium, the fans, see that torch coming in at the end. Be standing there with Team USA basketball. I got a fist bump from Kevin Durant. He complimented my mustache. So,
Jared, did you ever think your mustache would open new celebrity doors for you?
No. No, so far in my life, it's probably closed more doors than it's opened. But I think we're seeing the back end of that now.
So as you're at the opening ceremonies and Kevin Durant walks over to you, what's going through your mind?
He's a popular hit. Everyone, even on Team USA, trying to get their picture with him. And so I just put up my fist about as tall as I could reach and said, "Can I get a fist bump?" And he said, "Sure, man." And then complimented my stash, took another picture, and then turned around and said, "I really like that stash." And that was the interaction.
Jared, man, I am trying to open up some new avenues for my business and my professional life. I'm looking at being an agent, and I would love to represent your mustache if your mustache is looking for an agent. Just let me know, man.
Sweet. We'll go for like chocolate milk first.
Yep.
And then anything else that causes mustache problems.
Dude, whatever you need, man. I already see it. I could have your own personal groomer. I'll have somebody that can trim it, somebody that can brush it, somebody that can style it. I mean, I have everything for you, man. Just let me know when you want to meet, the time and the place, and I'll be there.
Somewhere out there floating around is a Twitter handle that I was never able to sort out who was managing, but we do have a small start, so I think we should go forward with that.
Perfect.
Olympic marathon runner Jared Ward joining us from Rio as he gets set to compete this weekend. I feel like by the time you run, Jared, you may as well have already obtained your dual citizenship in Brazil. I think it's like 17 days or something before you actually run. So how have you passed the time? What has your daily regime been like?
So I've been trying to hit some of the events, without having to walk or be in a bus for too long. And that's been fun. I watched a game of handball the other day. It was my first ever seeing handball. And Brazil was playing, and the fans were nuts. The stadium was bouncing as they were doing their soccer chant towards the end. And so seeing some stuff like that, seeing fencing, some of these other sports that you don't get to see elsewhere has been really kind of a taste. Feel like I've been getting a taste of the world. But, other than that, reading books, going for my runs. Our track that we train at is probably about an hour drive from the village. So I've been getting used to sitting on a bus, but it hasn't been bad. They've been comfy and everyone's been taking good care of us.
Jared, I can't imagine waiting, 17 days. I remember waiting for games that happened at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I would just, be so irritable and just ready to go and hit somebody. How has the anticipation affected you so far?
Well, I've been trying to just feel like I'm down here training. So, we got down here and had to get into a rhythm of what we were going to do for our training, really, because I was going to be here for so long. It's not, most of these trips you get out to and it's just rest and taper and race, and this one was different because we were so far early. So I think that was nice. I think it was nice to be able to come down here and, there's the buzz of the Olympics and the hype and things, but in my mind, I'm just training. And so I still, we're into the taper now, but I still haven't quite flipped that switch to, all right, it's competition time, and I'm going to try to keep that, for a couple more days and stay calm before I really start trying to amp myself up and get ready for this race.
Talking with Jared Ward, Olympic marathon runner. He will compete this weekend on Sunday. Jared, I think the assumption is that when you move from elevation where you do the majority of your training down to Rio and you bring in humidity and that lower elevation, that all of your problems just disappear because you can run forever. But what is it really like for you to go from training in the mountains now down to running in Rio?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've always felt like the altitude benefit. I get out and run, and I very much run by feel. And so when I come down and you have a little bit more oxygen, you end up running just a little bit faster, but it feels about the same. And so I tack the race similarly. I'm gauging how I feel. I'm gauging, where my nutrition's at and what I need, if I need hydration, if I need sugar, and that kind of stuff during the marathon. And when you're at sea level, you just magically run a few seconds per mile faster. And so it's more reflected in the clock really than in terms of how I feel or how I approach a race.
Jerry, what kind of diet are you on while you are, training, but then as you start to taper off and get ready for the competition?
That was a fun one to sort out down here. Trying to get in a rhythm, where the food's all different. But the U.S. Olympic Committee and USATF packed plenty of jars of peanut butter, so
Nice.
I've been able to stay regular in terms of getting my peanut butter and jam sandwiches in the afternoons. But really, things have been good. The cafeteria, has a broad range of food, so I'm pushing my best to stay light. Trying to eat enough and fuel enough that I can recover and I have the energy to train, but not so much that I'm gaining weight right before the biggest race of my life. This week, my carbo loading isn't as significant of a cycle as some people do. I shift a little bit away from carbohydrates right now, for today, yesterday, a little bit tomorrow. And then come the end of the week, I shift a little bit away from fats and proteins and more just towards carbohydrates. And so my breakfast this morning was an omelet with some spinach and just a little bit of some sort of Polish sausage. And, so it's 500 calories or so. And this evening I'll be eating probably a little bit of carbohydrates, but it'll mostly be another plate of veggies with some sort of lean meat. And then as we shift towards later in the week, it'll be more like oatmeal in the mornings and a sandwich in the afternoon, and then eating something like pasta or a plate full of rice, things like that in the evening, just to make sure that I got those glycogen stores full to last me the 26 miles that I got to go.
I'm not going to lie, Jared, that sounds intense. That sounds super complicated. How do you keep all that straight?
I think about food a lot.
Fair enough. Okay, enough said on that in that regard. When you look at what you did in the U.S. Olympic trials, you finished third. A great accomplishment for you, obviously, to get to the Olympics. Now, where do you turn your sights in terms of personal goals and what you want to accomplish within Olympic competition?
It's a great question. I get asked all the time, what are your chances of getting a medal? And, I typically say I'm not a favorite, but that's what I'm running for, and that's what everyone's running for. I finished third in the U.S., so I got two quality teammates that are going to be vying for the same positions on the podium, and then we add a whole lot of other qualified runners from all over the world. So I've really looked at this race at trying to put myself in a position where if I'm feeling good late in the race and things fall my way, that I could, go after a chance for ending on that podium. But it's not necessarily, my do or die goal going in. Fortunate that training's gone really well. I'm certainly in the best shape of my life. Better shape than in the trials, better shape than in LA a year and a half ago. And so that's exciting. And so I'm really excited to go out there and hopefully run faster than I've ever ran before, and hopefully put myself in a position where if an opportunity comes, I can capitalize on it. But at the end of the day, if I go out there and I run as hard as I can, and I do everything I can to do pride and justice to the USA jersey, then I'll come home feeling good about it.
We are absolutely stoked to watch your race this weekend. All of BYU Sports Nation will have our eyes on you and the stash, Jared. We appreciate the time, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.